Austin.
And we're back with another video. We actually had recorded this video a few days prior and had it edited, completely ready for you. And unfortunately, we lost the footage and it was really upsetting. So we're really hoping that this is as good as the first one.
This is pretty much just a replacement video for that one.
Exactly. But, you know, we're going to try our best. But yeah, so you guys had requested that we would do pregnancy timeline journey story. So basically how we found out, how our families reacted, and the whole 9 yards.
So sit down, relax, and get ready to hear a long story.
Okay, so basically we had just gotten back together in October. It was the end of October, and this whole pregnancy thing started in November. So it was very abrupt for us and very, very scary. The reason that I even thought to take a test was because I felt completely different. Like, I felt so irritable, okay? It was like nobody could say anything to me. I was completely ready to just like pounce on them like a raven. And I don't know why. It was just so out of the ordinary for me to be that hormonal. And so I had just had my period, which meant that I would have been in an ovulation cycle at this point. It was just like one of those things that I just knew. So I asked my friend to drive me to CVS so that I could take a test because I wasn't going to ask my mom. And at the time I couldn't drive by myself or anything. So we went over, I got tests. He was home at the time and we live an hour and like 50 minutes away. So I couldn't have done this with him. We were not together at the point, and I just needed to get the tests. So I was not educated in the realm of pregnancy tests, meaning that I did not know the difference between like an early pregnancy test and just a regular one.
Or a normal one and a digital one.
So I always said to myself, if I had to take a pregnancy test, I was going to do a digital one because they look cool. So I got the digital ones. And I took them across the street to Wendy's where we went to get food because I needed to take one. And the first one came back and it said pregnant, but it had a booklet on it as if I had done it wrong. And then I take another one, it says not pregnant. And I'm like, I don't know, like I just feel a certain way. But I knew it was super early, first of all. I did not miss my period. I definitely was not at the waiting period to take a test either. But I just had to do it. So I texted him.
I found it all out through text and I was kind of confused and excited. I was like, okay, a booklet? I have no idea what that means. I don't know anything about pregnancy tests. What's the difference between a normal one and a digital one? And if it wasn't too early to find out or not. So I was confused, excited, and nervous all at the same time when finding this out.
Well, we were really oblivious. Now I could tell you 100 things about pregnancy tests, but before...
we were just kids.
Yeah,
we were new to it all.
We had no idea what the hell was going on. So we decided that we were going to just wait and take more when I had seen him. So I was like, all right, I'm going to give it enough time.
I couldn't stay away from you.
Yeah. We took the test again. And this is when he was at my house. And it was a first response. And it was an early detection. And I think this is like a couple days before my missed period. And we had seen 2 lines. But it was so faint. It was like the faintest of the line. We sat there with our flashlight, trying to shine it.
Everything we could have tried to figure it out. We took photos on photos. We went through filters. We did everything and anything. And it was an unforgettable moment.
We were just like, is that a line? We saw it, but we couldn't like 100% be positive on it, because when you think of a pregnancy test, you're thinking of like a vivid line. So, you know, you look up baby center. I didn't know what baby center was at the time, but when you type things in on Google, it gives you, you know, all the mom blogs and stuff. And they're like, yeah, faint line can mean pregnancy, and it can mean this and that, and you get so worried.
We were excited but confused, and we were still uncertain, but we had kind of proof from all the blogs that, oh, we're going to be parents, but we still weren't 100% sure because it could be a false positive because those are things.
Yeah, and even though they're rare, we were still on the lookout. But I just knew I was pregnant. I felt pregnant, and then for that faint line to come up, it was crazy. But I'm actually going to insert a clip of us trying to see the line. I do have it because I filmed it to try to see the line.
Gotta save every moment.
Yes.
You can see it.
It's harder to see it on camera, but... Ooh.
You see it?
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, anyway, we were struggling to make sure that it was there, but it definitely was because we had went to his house after this. We went to Walmart, and the first thing that we did was run and grab tests. So I was like, all right, we have to take it. It's what we gotta do. I ran to the pregnancy tests, and I got first response early detection. And at this point, I had been late for my period by like 1 day. I go to the bathroom after I buy them, and I take one, and I leave that bathroom with like this face because literally it was the darkest line I had ever seen.
I just saw her come out and I knew exactly what was coming, and I was very happy, but, you know, nervous, and she just looked adorable with that face.
At that point, it was like one of those things that you just like don't know how to process the right way, so you're like excited, but you're nervous, because we knew how young we were, and we knew that we were going to be in a lot of shit. So the people that were fearing this, like in our families, because that definitely happened, like...
Oh, yeah.
They were right.
2 teenagers hanging out together. Something's gonna happen.
It was definitely a scary thing, but we had to kind of be rational about it because there was nothing that we could do from that point.
And we had to keep it quiet, too, between just us for now, until we figured out how we wanted to explain it and who we wanted to tell first.
Exactly. Ultimately, we ended up telling our moms first. We actually had told his mom about everything once we saw the faint positive because we were in such need of advice at the time because we were so scared.
We showed her the positive to see if she could see anything, and she was excited when we told her. And I knew deep down that she couldn't keep the secret for too long, so eventually after maybe like a week or 2, she kept bothering us and saying that it's really difficult for her to keep the secret. So we eventually planned on meeting my mom and my brother and my sister and my nephews all together and just telling them. And we also brought gifts to lighten the mood because it was around Christmas time, so we figured, hey, give everybody gifts so they're not half as mad at us. And when we told everybody, they were really mad, but not at us, but at my mom for letting it happen, because we were just 2 teenagers under her roof, and she let it happen. So...
Yeah, they were upset with her and not us. It was really weird to handle that. They were just, like, disappointed in us. So, that went alright. And we ended up telling my mom as well, but we didn't tell her the full truth. So I told her that I thought I might be pregnant, and I wanted to tell her so badly because, like, I keep nothing from her. She's, like, my best friend. But I was so scared that my dad was going to find out. And if I would have told her, she would have had to tell my dad. So I could not give her the honest truth, and I had to let it go. But basically, like he said, we told his family. And from that point, it was kind of awkward around them.
Because after that point, after they knew, my entire family knew, word spreads fast. So it was really awkward being around them.
And as for my family, they had no idea. So basically, it was just this giant loop of, like, confusion. Nobody knew anything.
And secrets.
Yeah, and it felt horrible not being able to tell them. So by the time I was about 6 or 7 weeks, I was really, really sick. I was at his house at the time, and I just could not keep anything down. Literally, I was eating only to get sick and throw it up, and it was horrible. And at the time, we had just told his family, and they were growing suspicious. A couple people were saying things like, oh, she's too early to be sick. She shouldn't be nauseous. You know, maybe it's not real. Clearly, that's not true. And you can get sick at 6 or 7 weeks.
They just didn't get it.
Well, they didn't understand it, and they were probably trying to figure out a way to, you know, dismiss this big deal.
Yeah.
But, you know, I ended up definitely being pregnant. I decided to go home, and when I did, I was really scared to talk to my mom, so I left that out. I decided to visit my grandma a little bit after this, and I went to go hang out with my Aunt Christina and my friend Kayla, and I had told them that I was pregnant. I was really, really nervous. I ended up telling my mom because I had no idea what to do. So I tell her, and at this point I know that I have like no time. I have to tell my dad. You know, she tried to be as supportive as she could. She helped me make my first appointment, everything like that, but it was...
She was so helpful through this entire pregnancy.
Yeah, but it was really difficult nonetheless because of our ages and just her being scared, being my mom and stuff. But yeah, so while I was down there, decided to tell my dad. And I tell him, and he was so upset. Like, he was devastated. I'm not going to get into the details,
But through all of that, I was not with her, and I wanted to be when she told her dad. I wanted to be there for her, but I wasn't, and I knew it was going to be very difficult for her, so I felt really bad for her because she did it herself, and I wanted to be there to sort of take some of the blame for her, so like I can take the heat off for her, but I wasn't, and I just wish I was there for her at that time.
Well, it had to be done, so I did it, and you know, like I said, I was in New York, so before I came home, it gave him a few days to kind of cool off a little bit, but he was just really upset. It was definitely something that took a big toll on me, and I cried and I cried and I cried because he just looked so disappointed when I saw him, which was a few days later. Like I said, I came home and he had seen me and he gave me a hug, and I didn't expect him to give me a hug. He has this like complete tough guy exterior, so I did not expect him to cave in that quickly. I was nervous, but he just said to me, I'm happy to see you. And that made me cry too, because I was just like so overwhelmed with emotions. I was so scared to see him, and the fact that he made me feel comfortable, and that was like a blessing. But it definitely was not okay from there. I mean, we still had our ups and our downs. He still took it very hard. I'm the oldest, so I was his first baby, and his first baby was having a baby. And at the time I was 16 and he was 15. Now we're 16 and 17, but it was definitely just something that took a long time for us to adjust to with our whole family. From that point, I still had not told my whole family, and his whole family knew. My mom told me to wait until viability, which was 12 weeks, but I had an ultrasound at 13 weeks, and I figured that at that week I was just done, and I wanted to post it. I wanted to get it over with. I couldn't individually tell people. I was just so scared. So I posted my 13-week ultrasound, and I just flat out told everybody. We had people who were extremely upset. We had people who were trying to be supportive but were like kind of uncomfortable. We had people who were like completely shocked, and then we had people who saw it coming. It was definitely just a giant pit of like emotions.
it was very awkward as well being around there, because like at that point you have just like family events and you just go around everybody and it's all awkward, whether it was my family or her family. It was still really awkward to be around everybody, because it's like we're parents now and they're not fully accepting of it at that point, so it was very awkward.
Yeah, it definitely was. I had conversations with people who were like, why didn't you tell me? All that kind of stuff. And it was just because I was mentally exhausted from holding it in for that long. And I just was so scared. Like, I didn't want to be scared anymore and deal with what other people were going to think. But it took a lot of time for people to adjust. We got the entire 9 yards of explosions just thrown at us at that point. It was completely, like, emotional for the both of us. But we had to handle it in the only way that we knew how, which was by dealing with it. There was really nothing that we could have done to change anything. The damage was ultimately done in itself. And it wasn't that it was something that we viewed as a negative thing. It was just something that we were built to feel ashamed for. And we didn't want to be ashamed. We didn't want to feel all those different things. We were excited that there was going to be a life, brought into this world, but we were so scared and we were so pressured into so many different ideas. There were people that were telling us to get rid of the baby. Ultimately, we had each other to get through it with, so it ended up being okay.
All we had was each other's support, and in the end it brought us a lot closer together. And it, through all of it, all the pressure, all the stress, all the talking, it really matured us a lot more, because you were really mature ahead of me, and I was still a basic teenager, but through all of it, it really matured a lot better into who we are now, and we're very close together, and we love each other very much.
Yeah.
And it's prepared us to be parents. We're a lot better prepared now.
Definitely. It took us a while to get into the adjustment of being parents. It took a really long time for us to get to even where we are now. But
we did it together.
Yes, we did. We had a gender reveal at 16 weeks. So by this point, you have to think about it. I told them at 13 weeks. 16 weeks, I wanted a little tiny reveal. I was supposed to find out at 20 weeks, but I had an early gender scan at this little place called Madeline's Place, and I did this for his birthday.
The best birthday surprise ever.
Yeah, it was a birthday surprise.
Even though it wasn't really a surprise, because we were not at the same place at this time, so I had to be told when to be down. So it wasn't too much of a surprise, but it was still amazing.
Well, it was still fun nonetheless. So we drove an hour to get there, and when we got there, it took a little bit of time. We had this really cute little nice ultrasound. We weren't going to find out at this appointment ourselves, so we had her put it in an envelope, and we anxiously drove home, because at that point we were going to have my immediate family over, so it was really just my grandparents, and I had my aunt and my uncle there, and we had this answer in an envelope that we could not open. At this point, we thought it was a girl.
Well, you thought it was a girl. I thought it was a boy.
It was a girl. But we had our gut feeling it was a girl. That's the thing. I had these boy signs right before I found out that it was a girl, and it was really freaky, because it was almost like the universe was tricking me. But I kept seeing boy items and boy balloons, and I was like, oh, it feels like a girl, but what if it's a boy? Because every person who told us it was going to be a girl switched it to boy. The only person who didn't was my mom. So we were just completely confused, and we didn't know what to think.
And my entire family always told me I was going to have all the girls, because my brother and sister had boys. So I was expecting a girl, but deep down I was thinking a boy too.
Yeah, well, we were hopeful for a girl for that very reason in the beginning, and I think that it was just something that I knew deep down. But when it officially, came to be, we were really, really, really nervous. We went outside with these smoke bombs, because we got these smoke bombs that came in blue and pink, and the outside packaging was universal, so we had no idea. And we handed the envelope to my dad and my sister, and they opened it up and handed us the smoke bomb, and it was pink. So obviously, like I said, it meant we were having a girl, and we were really excited. I'm gonna actually put that clip here. Is it a girl? Oh my god.
Can I look at it?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So everyone was really happy. It was really nice, and then, you know, we just, from there, we had a lot more of a positive experience with my family. It was still difficult. There were still some people that wouldn't talk to us and all that stuff, but since we weren't at his house at the time, we had to postpone our reveal for him.
When we finally did that, we both knew it, and my entire family was there. It was like a mix of a gender reveal and a birthday party for me. So me and her, we lit the candle off, and it was pink, and everybody was surprised, and they said they were excited, but it was cold, so they all just kind of rushed back into the house.
Yeah, it was pretty friggin' funny. We actually did record that, but the camera that we tried to prop up was on the car, and it slipped.
It fell.
So we didn't get the footage. But anyways, yeah, that was really nice, and, you know, his family eased up too. It was just taking its course, and, you know, we let it go. Everybody started to ease up in his family too. It was alright. It just had to take its course the way that it needed to. But we did still have to tell his dad, which is kind of funny because we did wait for a very long time to tell his dad.
And when we told him, it was probably the biggest goof of all. I was really just nervous with my dad, because my dad means a lot to me, and his opinion means probably one of the most in my life, and I didn't know how he was going to take it. So when I first told him, I was in the car, me and her were together, and I just got a pair of boots, and I kept making jokes about, these are going to be my dad boots, and this is going to be my dad shirt, and this is going to be my dad hat, and I'm going to do this as a dad. He just didn't pick up on it, and we finally got to my mom's house where we were staying, and she got out of the car. It was just me and my dad, and I told him that I was straight up going to be a dad. And then I got out of the car because I was really nervous, and I didn't want to, I would just want to avoid that confrontation for now. So then I finally get into my mom's house, and I tell my mom and Jessica about my dad and his reaction, and I just said that I told him, and that I just was expecting a reaction, but he kind of just looked shocked. So eventually I finally figured out his reaction. He was upset, but at this point he was like everybody else, how they were in the beginning, but now he's very excited. I can tell. He won't show it. He is excited, he's willing and ready to help us no matter what, and he wants the best for all three of us.
Yeah, it's really crazy how everything started to play out. Eventually, like, you know, everybody just kind of came to terms with everything, and we started getting positive reactions. Like, I would go to an ultrasound, I'd get a picture of the baby, and people would want to see it, and it was just really nice. The question that we kept getting was, how are you going to take care of this baby? Everybody wanted to know, and it was an overwhelming thing because at the time we were kind of nervous and we didn't really know what we were going to do because it was acting as such a surprise. But, you know, we probably heard that a million times before we figured it out ourselves, and now everything's okay. But it was definitely stressful to hear that all the time.
We're ready for her now.
Yeah, we're super prepared. Everything's set up. So if you'd like to see a video of how we have the room set up and all her little, you know, items, then you can leave a comment below. Eventually, when I was actually 31 weeks pregnant, I had my baby shower. my mom threw me a surprise one. It was really, really nice, and I couldn't have asked for a better party. My whole family was so supportive, and
It was beautiful.
it was amazing, and my mom put so much work into it. She's like my biggest support. I couldn't have done it without her, so I appreciate her so much for that. But it was amazing because everybody was so supportive, and you know, we made out really well. It was just really, really nice. And we also had another baby shower at his house.
Our baby shower at my house was not as big because I sort of have a smaller family than she does. We did not have much time. They didn't have much time to set up. We didn't set up. And it was still a surprise for us. It was really nice. It came out really nice. And that was all my mom's doing. And I appreciate that for her because it was like a tough time for us. And everything we got was really nice. We got a lot of clothes, a lot of cute clothes, a lot of stuff that we needed.
A lot of bath stuff.
Oh, yeah. And everything was just great. It was a good time.
The biggest point is that it all fell together and we were okay. And we had people to support us. You know, I had people tell me that they weren't going to be there for me and that they weren't going to give me a penny at all. You know, so if I have a birthday party for the baby or a baby shower or anything, don't expect a thing because it's all my doing. And then they were there to support me the whole way through, and they were just scared. But it all came together the way that it needed to. And
through all of it, we had each other and each other's support, which was a very big thing. We definitely would have done it if we were alone, if we didn't have each other or our relationship that kept us together.
Yeah, we definitely needed each other. But our biggest point is that if we got through it, you can get through it too. Mm-hmm. And, you know, even if you're alone and don't have a significant other, all that you really need to do is believe in yourself and understand that you're in this for you and your child.
You need to keep strong for the both of you. And if you don't have a significant other, you two need to keep strong. Not just for yourselves, but for the baby. Throughout all of this, the most important thing is yourself and the baby. Because you're bringing a new life into this. And if you're not alright, she's not going to be alright.
Yeah, or he, you know, we're just having a girl. But, you know, just try to understand that everything is going to be alright. And if it doesn't feel that way at the moment, you have to let it play out. And eventually it will fall into place the way it needs to. You know, me and him, like I said, we found out when we were 15 and 16. Even if we're 16 and 17 now, it's still not much of a better age anyway.
And if you don't mature or you don't think you're going to mature, you will. You definitely will. And if you're worried about somebody such as your significant other or the person carrying the baby not maturing through all of it, they will. It pushes you to.
You honestly are forced to grow up. Your whole mindset changes. You become like in parent mode, and it's all a part of the process. It's like the nature of the way that your body will handle it. But just try not to freak yourself out too much. Everything is going to be okay. If we got through it, you can too. And I keep saying that, but it's so true because we had nothing to rely on. If my dad could handle it, then that means your dad can handle it, or your mom, or whoever you're worried about, because I'm telling you, it was so scary.
And we believe in you.
Yeah, we're here.
You can do this.
We're here. If you need anything, you can comment, or we do have social media if you want to message us privately. It's in the description. But the point is, you are strong, and you are capable, and you are going to do this, and you're going to be happy in the end. You just have to believe in yourself, and I hope and I pray that you have all of the support that you need. But if you have nothing else, we're here for you. Mm-hmm. And I think with that being said, we're going to end the video. But thank you so much for tuning in. We were really, really, really upset about having to record this again, so I hope that it came out, you know, a little bit decent. I definitely hope that you found some sort of a strength in yourself while listening to our story, and I hope that you will come back to our channel.
Well, with that, we're gonna thank you for watching, and until next time.
We'll see you later. Bye, guys.
Bye.